Mhm.
Great. Yep, we got 23 people watching. Let's get this game going. So, good afternoon, everyone, and late night if you're watching from Japan. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to this question and answer session for the International Euphonium Tuba Festival that's starting next week. I brought together a variety of our artists to talk a little bit about the great, amazing things that they're going to be sharing with us next week. We've got the schedule to release today, and we're also going to tell you about a very exciting collaboration with a lot of our Japanese colleagues that's going to be happening this year. And I'm just super excited about what's going to be happening. Um, One of the first things I want to talk a little bit about is the virtual mass ensemble that we're going to be having late tonight for all the people that have registered. They'll be getting an email with the 9 pieces that we're going to put together with the mass ensemble. We've got some world premieres by Matt Hightower, a couple world premieres of some new arrangements, guest conductor Bob Childs, Michael Colburn, and Philip Ting from Singapore. And it's going to be a great experience for you guys to be practicing your parts, uploading the recordings, and then we're going to put together for the Wednesday night concert and the Saturday night concert an amazing performance of hopefully greater than 150 euphonium and tubas. So it's going to be a great thing. And the one beautiful thing, in case anybody plays a little bit too loud, in post production we can do a little bit of mixing on the soundboard to make sure nobody's out of balance and stuff like that. So that's a great thing. We'll also be releasing our masterclass assignments tonight and lesson assignments tomorrow. I'm going to talk a little bit about technology, but I know you guys want to hear from our artist about some of the features that are going to be happening. So I'd like to invite first to speak Mr. Gene Corny from the Chicago Symphony is going to be joining us. And Gene, you've been one of the artists that I've wanted to try and get down to the IET for many years. Just your amazing recordings, both tuba tracks and the excerpts, as well as all your stuff with the Chicago Symphony, are just an inspiration. And so I don't know if you'd like to tell us maybe a little bit about some of the teaching that you're going to be doing at IET.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I appreciate the introduction. Um, I'm just reminded of the high fidelity review of tuba tracks, which said it was a 5 pound ham and a 3 pound sack. I think it's I always remember that, and I guess it's true. I don't know. I don't know. Ham is certainly part of it. Uh, I'm going to be doing a class on Tchaikovsky, kind of an overview of stylistic ways of interpreting Tchaikovsky. And I'm using 2 pieces of repertoire, the 1812 Overture and the Fourth Symphony. And actually so I've got um, music that I'll send out to everybody. In fact, I think Bobby already has it. He's one of the tech guys, and so I'm going to go ahead, make some editing markings in that, and then send it off so that any of the students can actually kind of follow along. Because the problem with master classes or anything is that you can't really. People are usually not involved at all. You know, they're just kind of watching things and just kind of listening, but they're not really doing anything. So they'll actually have music in front of them, which will give them some architecture to look at, and how I would edit the parts, not by much, not excruciatingly so, but there's certain things that you just have to do to the music to make it work out. There's sometimes when you've got to be slightly louder than a refrigerator motor, and other times when you're hell bent for leather, you have to be the only person on the stage. And so that's what I'll be going through with the 2 pieces of Tchaikovsky, and hopefully that will translate into other repertoire.
Great. And Gene is going to also have a warm up class and a master class. And the other neat thing about the whole format for the warm up classes and the excerpt classes, we'll be sending out PDFs of the music. And if you want to honk along on the Tchaikovsky with Gene at home, just make sure your Zoom microphone is muted and that your parents or siblings or significant others are ready for the experience, as a matter of fact. Next, I wanted to hear from Dave Thornton, a great colleague, and we were fellow students at the Royal Northern, and now he's a euphonium professor there and just teaching and conducting a number of the best brass bands in the UK. And he's going to give a talk about brass bands and then also some other interesting classes. So Dave, you want to tell us just a little bit about that or some of the interesting rep that you're presenting?
Yeah, so one of the classes I'll be giving is, I think it's titled Exploring the Expressive Toolbox, or I think that's what it's called. And the idea there is kind of how often we've played in performance classes and master classes, and the participant, the student, is kind of asked to project more, to give more soloistic nature, to bring the music off the page, all of those kind of things. So I've just kind of breaking the expressive aspects of what we do down into a little bit of a mechanism. Now I know that sounds like sacrilege in a way, but just breaking it down into the various components and kind of trying to actually apply and link together the technical work with the musicality, because I think it's true to say I think they've got to go hand in hand. So a little bit of psychology behind it all, and a little bit of kind of practical thinking about musicality and projecting as a soloist, using some listening examples, dare I say, that will not necessarily all be euphonium and tuba related, but I think we can learn from others. And yeah, so that's where that class is going to go. During the recitals, I've got some interesting pieces. There's well, it's not a new piece by an English composer called Kit Turnbull from York, but it was actually a piece originally written for clarinet and clarinet and string quartet backing, that he's adapted for euphonium and backing track for me, called The Mermaid's Pool. Very, very atmospheric, very, very beautiful music. So I think that's going to appear on one of the concerts. And there's also a relatively new piece by Nigel Clark called Epitaph for Edith Cavill. Edith Cavill was a nurse during World War II who treated both soldiers from all sides without kind of prejudice, and she got treated quite badly for it at the time, but then later on was recognised, and so it's actually part of a larger work that Nigel's wound down to a smaller unaccompanied work for brass, and I think it's rather beautiful. So that's going to make an appearance as well. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Great. Yeah, no, Nigel's music is fantastic, and I feel like he's really got so many unique sounds and voices with what he's writing now. I mean, his older stuff is fantastic, but I just feel like it's really unique.
Yeah, well, until recently, he was the composer in residence with Grimethorpe Band, who is a band that I conduct, and we've released a CD together as well recently. So that seems like a good time to mention that. So you can look out for that on various channels of his music, and it really is fantastic. So yeah, look out for that CD, Nigel Clark and Grimethorpe Band, and the piece I'll be playing of his during the festival as well.
Great. Very, very cool. And, David was talking about that, the classes are obviously things for euphonium and tuba, but there's also a lot of different classes that will have universal music experience. One really neat thing that I'm actually just got an email from him. Some of you may know Dr. Don Green. He wrote The Inner Game of Tennis, was his first thing about performance psychology, peak performance experiences, and he will be presenting a 1-hour lecture at the IET on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time about performance, peak performance, performance anxiety, different things like that. So it's going to be a really, really exciting thing for him to come. And one of the other non-sort of necessarily euphonium tuba specific things is that Dave Porter's presenting this great class From Voice to Brass. And so Dave was in the U.S. Air Force Band in Washington, D.C. I believe for more than 20 years, I know, and is currently at George Mason University, teaching tuba in the Tuba Euphonium Ensemble. The GMU Tuba Euphonium Ensemble will actually be giving a virtual performance on one of the evening concerts at IET, so that's a really exciting thing. Dave, do you want to tell us a little bit about Voice to Brass, and then also maybe a little bit about the GMU performance?
Thank you. Make sure I unmute there. Yeah, thank you. The lecture that I'm wanting to give about Voice to Brass is based on a research project that I did as part of my doctorate degree. And it revolves around some of the difficulties I had as I got older and playing tuba, that my throat was closing up, and then sometimes I would get hoarse when I would play. And so a lot of the research deals with the physical aspects of how we sing, the actual physical aspects of that, and then applying those physical techniques to our playing, which is sometimes a little bit different than some of the traditional brass methods that we've grown up with. And so I look forward to showing the differences and some of the results of that research. Yeah, and George Mason University is putting together a concert video. We have 3 new compositions and 1 new arrangement on it. And we're also featuring David Bandman with us, who's a jazz extraordinary that many of you know. A couple other things that Adam has me involved in: I'll be on the military audition panel, and also teaching a class on Friday, I think, about playing over age 55. And there are several of us in that category, but I can tell you that, yeah, representing all of us is a great honor. And there are a lot of different things that I do now that I didn't do 30 years ago to keep myself playing well. So I look forward to all this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Great. And one of the neat things about IET is that, we get a big difference in different, all different age groups. So, we're generally about 1/3 adult amateur players. A lot of times we get a lot of college students, of course, and a lot of high school students. And if you want to, the other neat thing that we're doing is a new collaboration this year I talked about with the Japanese. And we're going to post on the Facebook a picture of that. We're going to basically, there's 5 Japanese artists, and we're going to be running a Japanese language 5-hour program based in Japanese Standard Time. With some of the warm-up classes, master classes, and lessons over there, as well as some specific things. But we're also going to have the artists from Japan join us as well on a couple discussions about chamber music from the Bottoms Up Quartet. And then we also have Pete Link, who's going to be doing an orchestral style class on Berlioz. And then there's also going to be a discussion group where they're going to talk about the Japanese educational system, as well as what it's like both on the high school level and the college level. And then one other neat thing that's going to happen is the massed ensemble. We're going to be doing the one of the themes from Sound Euphonium, which is this incredible Japanese anime show that's super popular, and there's a movie. But we're going to be doing that as an homage to our collaboration with the Japanese. And I wanted to invite Dr. Bowman. Dr. Bowman's had a long history with the Euphonium, obviously, and Japan, our collaboration there. And I wanted to, he's going to be part of the Legends with Mr. Toru Miura. And just wanted you to, if you might tell us a little bit about that and the Legends series and this Japanese collaboration.
Yes, I've been in contact quite a bit with Toru Miura. I am his English editor, and he has been writing a script about the history of the euphonium in Japan, which dates back to about the beginning of the 1980s. He certainly has a lot of experience with them, and also his experiences with the development of the euphonium in Japan. And it's interesting, in Japan, probably 70% of the euphonium players in the band programs in Japan are females or more, which is a large percentage, more than other parts of the world. He also talks about his relationship with Frederick Fennell, which was a special experience for him and for the euphonium situation there in Japan. And we'll discuss in length the history of how we go back to the beginning of TUBA back in there, 1970 and that early time also, and how then it spread throughout Japan. So I'm looking forward to be with him and with several other people who have been around for a long time. We're hoping to bring Paul Droste in for a few comments, and other people who haven't been recently around but are part of the foundation of the euphonium world.
Absolutely. The one really neat thing Toru's been doing, he sent me a lot of the pictures that of y'all's first interactions, some programs from the 1970s and the 80s, and some pictures when he was over studying with Ray Young. And it's really, really exciting stuff, and super enthused about what we're going to hear on the Legends discussion. Just the history of not just the organization of TUBA and ITA, but just also about the collaborations. I think one of the classes is going to have Gene Corny, Wes Jacobs, and Floyd Cooley, which is just an amazing collection of three of the finest orchestral tuba players. It would probably be a really neat thing if we were to calculate how many low Fs and low Es you guys had played over your entire life. That would probably be an amazing number. So one of the other people that we have, of course, is James Gourlay. I studied with him at the Royal Northern College of Music. He's conductor of River City Brass now, and teaches at Duquesne. He's going to be involved in a lot of different stuff, teaching warm-up class, master class, doing a discussion on brass bands. I think you're joining Aaron Tyndall and I on a doubling session that we're going to talk about playing instrument doubles. And I believe you have maybe some interesting music for the concerts or some surprises there potentially. So do you want to tell us? You can have a little spoiler if you want. So Jim?
I've got I've been working at home with making backing tracks, mostly for my students because they couldn't do recitals at the end of the last semester because of the lockdown, and so I'll be playing some of those. I might appear as a vocalist in one of the numbers, so beware to switch off. I'll give you I'll wave a flag just before I sing, and I'll wave it again after I've finished singing. And that way you can just mute me, you can just shut me up. But I think my wife will like it, so she'll be listening into that quite nicely. I've got most of the recital videoed, and what I decided to do is that rather than make a video and edit it, so if there's any mistakes, you'd go over, you would normally edit them out. I decided to show single takes of the pieces, so it has a feel of a performance. I'm not saying they were always first takes. They're not first take. Well, I think there is one take wonder which merited a celebratory glass of single malt, but all the others are maybe the third or the fourth or the fifth or the seventh or the 12th take. But that's what's quite fun about it, is that they do have a sense of a show going on, and I think that would be important for somebody who's watching any of these recitals. I've also got quite a lot of overdubbed tuba quartets that I did, and they might be interesting to include because since the lockdown, don't get me wrong, guys, I've been playing with myself a lot. And, well, and that's been very instructive. I mean, it might be a good discussion point because,
now,
when...
5-second tape delay that I can bleep things out or anything,
Yeah, well, there probably is. You won't need a bleeper for me because I'm usually quite polite, except when Jason Casanova comes on, because we've got this thing. Study with me, mate. No, not with you.
Oh, me. You study with me.
No, with me, mate.
Oh.
So anyhow, the tuba quartets are quite interesting, and there's been quite an interesting process doing them because I learned so much about my own playing. Like my middle C's are like sharp as anything, and the F is as flat as a witch's tit. All of those things. I probably knew those things, but to hear them in the playback has been quite interesting. So I'm going to shut up now.
Okay, that's good. No problem. So,
Oh, by the way, do you like the quarantine hairdo?
it's short.
I think we need
Yeah.
a closer look at that.
Yeah, oh, that is. So now I know you and Jason seem to have some type of rivalry going on. So I'll let Jason talk next. Jason completed his master's at Georgia State University, teaches at Jacksonville State University, Kennesaw State University, has played with a couple of Balkan groups, and does a Georgia brass band, lots of freelance in Atlanta. He's also our competition coordinator and one of the artists as well. And so, Jason, you want to tell us a little bit about competitions and then also unique things that you've done?
Yeah, sure. So let's start off with the competitions real quick. So, this year obviously is a little bit different. You can't have the typical in-person competition. So we've, just like everything else, decided to go virtual, online. In case you're still interested, you have until the 9th to submit your competition recording, okay? And you could submit an audio recording or a video recording. We have a form to submit that. So once you do the application for the festival and apply for the competition, then you submit your recording at the same time. But it's all due by June 9th. And the first round is unaccompanied, and now we have also changed. We've talked to a bunch of different people, festivals all around the U.S. and outside the U.S., etc. And we're going to kind of join the mentality that the best way that we can help you all out, with this competition, is to let you all have as much freedom musically as you can, and the best way to do that is to not require an accompaniment for the final round. We were thinking about
actually Falcone did this. The Falcone Festival did this, and it's something to make everything a lot easier for everybody. And for the judges at a high level, we're able to determine the quality, whether you have accompaniment or not. But we want to make this as accessible for people and that they can be involved as much as possible.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And trust me, some of these pieces that you all are playing, they're hard enough to learn, with the piano. and then you've got stuff like the cadenzas and tempo changes and all of that. And especially for music with a cadenza in there, we'd hate to allot only, let's say, you have 30 seconds to play the cadenza. Like, no, you can't do that. You have to be able to do your thing and show your musical ideas. And the best way to do that is just to nix the accompaniment. And the fact you could still use an accompaniment. Let's say you have an aunt or a grandma or something that plays a piano really, really well. You can still use them. It's not necessarily going to help or hurt you if you choose to use them or not. Okay. And if you have any other questions about the competition, you can email me at competitions@ietfestival.com. Also, one of the things I'll be doing at the festival is my warm-up class. I'll also be doing a recital and a master class as well, but you might want to check in about my warm-up class because you all will be the first to know that about a few years ago I started having a little bit of lip issues where I was teaching one day and my sound just stopped responding, just period. So I took a little bit of time off and I had to kind of rediscover my playing, kind of start from square one. And I kind of developed this warm-up routine that works for me. And it may not work for everybody, but, for me, it's helped me out a lot and it gets me off to a great start. So if you've maybe had issues like that, like I did as well, you might want to check in. It might be something that you can use, or maybe someone that can use. So yeah, that's about it.
Cool. No, I think that's great. I mean, I remember talking with you about that, and we talked about a lot of different scenarios, and I think it's one thing a lot of people don't talk about a lot.
A lot of people are very, I don't want to say embarrassed, but it's their craft, and I understand that, they don't want people to know, and just go on with life the way it is.
Yeah, no, I agree completely and stuff. So the other thing to know this year, we added a mock band competition for Euphonium and Tuba, and then also a mock tuba orchestra audition, because we know lots of people were working on the competitions for the regional tuba euphonium conventions, and that's a great opportunity, to win some money and to get comments from a lot of these amazing teachers and stuff like that. I wanted to go back to Dave Porter for a second. Dave Porter is going to be doing a world premiere of a new concerto. And so, Dave, tell us just a little bit about that.
Thanks. Sorry, I forgot to say this a minute ago. This is a concerto for tuba by Anthony O'Toole, who's a young, prominent composer in California. He's written a lot of literature for tuba and euphonium. And the cool thing about this concerto is I asked him to make it very approachable, pleasant and approachable to students of college age and up. And so it should be a lot of fun. I look forward to premiering that. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Major concertos, really lots of great things happening there. One of our other tuba faculty is Aaron Tyndall from the University of Miami. Known each other quite a while. And he's going to have orchestral style class. This is one of our themes for the week. There's Warren Deck is giving an introduction to orchestral style. Chris Olka is going to give a class on specifically focused on Wagner, because when he was out in Seattle, they played the Ring Cycle a lot. And then Pete Link talking about Berlioz, Gene Corny talking about Tchaikovsky, and Aaron's going to do some work on Mahler, as well as some interesting other things in his warm-up class, which has got great information, really good videos. We've actually edited his video already, and it's going to be great. So, Aaron, you just want to tell us a little bit about your involvement?
Yeah. Can you hear me through there? Great. Yeah, I'll be doing a warm-up class like what Adam was just talking about. It's a little off the rails in that it's not something I think that many tuba players are familiar with. One of my last mentors, two of my last mentors I had the pleasure to work with were Warren Deck and Joseph Alessi. And Joe Alessi has his Alessi trombone seminars, as we all know, that are wildly popular, and he's always handed out a packet of information that's yay thick, and kind of deciphered a lot of that and put it down for tuba. That's one of about 3 to 4 different routines that I try to do each week to stay in shape. And there are quite a few videos I think that I sent in for that actually. So there's plenty of material there, and you can basically, I'm not sure how Adam's gonna have it. I assume that everybody will play along with me, I guess, and with everybody else who's doing a warm-up class as well. So yeah, I think that's a huge proponent of what I'm doing. And then also the class on Mahler, and leading a discussion with a few legends that are near and dear to my heart. 2 of them are my mentors, former mentors, Roger Bobo and Warren Deck, and I believe Chuck Dallenbach is joining that that crowd as well. So I think that'll be really enlightening and interesting to a lot of people, to myself as well. Already beginning thinking about some questions to probe their minds with. And and also, I mean, several students have messaged saying that they're interested in having lessons with the entire faculty there. Just kudos to Adam for putting together such a huge enlightening event year after year for our community. I know there's so many people that just look forward to coming back to this, and I'm extremely glad that you've seen the way through to keep it going for this year with everything that we've been thrown with the epidemic and protesting and everything going on in this country. I think this will be a nice respite for all of us to partake in here in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing many people and colleagues here on my screen and others who are not with us at the moment.
No, great. Thank you for those kind words. It's certainly been a challenge, and we've got a lot of great technology that's going to be involved in making the whole week flow very, very well. We've got access, or private access for participants into an app called Slack. It's basically like a password protected Facebook Messenger. And we'll be able to have chats in there, videos play in there. You know, it's going to be one of our main areas. And so, like your warm up, the participants will receive the PDF samples. They'll be able to play along, and then also there'll be live Q&A with the artists after their sessions. So there's a lot of great things that can go on. Jim Gourlay, are you hanging out there on the beach? I'm jealous. Next, we wanted to travel back to England and see David Childs there, and just wanted to invite him, number one, to tell us a little bit about his involvement, but then number two, why is there a trombone behind you? Is that a virtual background you have there? It must be. It must be. Dave, are you there? There we go.
Hello?
Hey, Dave.
Hey, sorry, were you speaking to me? My internet cut out for a moment there.
That's okay. It froze. So no, what I was saying is that we were going to ask you about, now my joke isn't nearly as funny the second time. So what I was saying is that we were going to invite you to tell us a little bit about your involvement, and that, like Jim had the Miami background, it looks like you have a virtual background behind you because there's a trombone behind you. So that's not a real background, is it?
It is a real background, Adam. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the things you get up to on lockdown.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. No, I a long time ago, I used to play a little bit of trombone very badly, and I still do play a little bit of trombone very badly. But it's no, I enjoy it from time to time. It's great to see all you guys, though. I haven't seen a lot of you for a long time, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the students as well. In fact, a lot of the guys I teach now at UNT, I met many years ago at IET, so it is nice to be back. I'm going to be doing a concerto by Eddie Gregson, which I'm pretty excited about. He's just in a piano reduction for his concerto. I got to do it with brass band a couple of years ago, and last year with orchestra, but this will be the first time to do it with piano, and it'll be a virtual performance, obviously. So it's an interesting piece for those that don't know it. The first movement's called Dialogues, has quite a few cadenzas in it. The second movement is a song without words, and the third movement is a bacchanal. So it's about 22 minutes long. So that's basically my recital.
Cool, that's fabulous. And we appreciate Eddie and you putting that together in these circumstances, but I think it's a great thing about the quantity of unique performances that we're going to have. And one of the next people that I want to talk with is Mr. Øystein Bodsvik, who's I've known for a long time, amazing soloist, and I know many of us know a lot about his playing and teaching. But I didn't know, Øystein, you've had a lot of online teaching experiences internationally, and I just didn't know if you might want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Adam, and again, thank you for lining up this phenomenal line of teachers. I don't think there's ever been such a shining group of tuba euphonium players. One band ever, but that's teaching. But actually, it works with just an iPhone. A lot of the classes I've had, lessons with students, have been very simply done on an iPhone, next to their sheet music on their music stand. And it's been not a problem at all. Especially China has been problematic country for different reasons. They have some restrictions on internet, and WeChat is a kind of a Facebook thing for Chinese people, and that just works. It just put the phone on the stand, they play, and I can check on their intonation, the interpretation, articulation, all of the good stuff. And yeah, this should work really, really nice.
Cool. That's great. No, it's the technology. We're going to have a lot of videos this week that are going to be posted on using technology, about training to get optimum Zoom settings. And that's going to be a great thing. We're going to be inviting all the participants into the Slack channel, which tomorrow. And that'll give everybody a chance to see what the whole experience is going to be like. So it's really exciting. I wanted to do a quick screen share here so you guys can get an idea about the schedule. The first thing that one of my friends said is go big or go home. And I believe we definitely have that mantra with IET this year. Each day's got anywhere from 11 to 13 different events. If you count the Japanese, the 6 events on the Japanese side, that's going to add up to almost 18 events. I believe the content will probably be over 80 hours of content that we're going to produce, which is just unfathomable. And one thing I want participants to know is that it's not our plan that you watch every single event. In fact, there's no way that you can. When I pull up the schedule here, you'll see that the really cool thing is like each day we've got 4 different warm-up sessions that you can attend, and generally master classes. We've got 2 master classes happening at a time. And Monday morning at 10 o'clock in the Slack channel, there'll be, we call it dropping links. Basically at 9:55, there'll be a link that goes on. It'll say, if you're going to Dave Thornton's warm-up class, click here. If you're going to Gail Robertson's warm-up class, click here. If you're going to Oystein Bodsvik's class, go here. Gene Picorni's class, go here. And so that's a really slick feature. And the cool thing is that you'll be able to go back and watch these a little bit later if you want to, or if you want to catch part of one session and then catch part of another. That's a great possibility. We've also got on Monday afternoon, or we've got lunchtime breaks and dinner breaks and coffee breaks built in, and participants and artists during those breaks, obviously get away from your computer, or you can join us back in the Slack channel and join one of the chat groups where you can break out into small groups and do video and audio chat. You can send direct questions as well. I'll probably show you guys the Slack channel in just a second, but let's go through the schedule a little bit more. Monday afternoon, there's a focus class on jazz improvisation with Gail Robertson, and then there's our orchestral style introduction with Warren Deck. Our first Legends discussion has got some pretty big names going on. We've got on the euphonium side Brian Bowman, Toru Miura, and Bob Childs, and then Warren Deck, Chuck Dallenbach, and Roger Bobo. Monday afternoon, masterclass with Mark Jenkins and Gene Picorni. We'll have a break. During these breaks for evening, there could be some special surprises. I know at least one evening I have organized a barbecue chat. Carson McTeer is going to be joining me. We're going to talk about grilling meat and barbecuing and all sorts of really good things, some behind the scenes footage from here at the house. And Carson is going to be doing ribs. I'm going to be doing pulled pork. And if anybody else wants to get in on that, not eating, but if you want to add in stuff like that, you're totally fine. Tuesday morning starts our Japanese collaboration. We're going to have a chamber music session with the Bottoms Up Quartet from Japan. And that's going to be a really cool thing. just those of you that are wondering, it turns out, I guess, during Facebook live events, you can't post images in the text flow, but I'll post this program in the IET Festival page as soon as this is done. But yeah, Tuesday, we start with their Japanese collaboration, chamber music, another 4 warm-up classes. These are repeats of Monday with Q&A, so it gives you the opportunity if one day you want to check out Dave Thornton on Monday and Gail Robertson on Tuesday. Different set of master classes, different levels of focus class, different legends discussion. And then on Tuesday afternoon, we've got a master class on military band auditions with Mark Jenkins, Simon Wildman, who are from the U.S. Marine Band, and then also Dave Porter. The evening recitals are going to be this amazing collage of artists from around the world. You've heard a lot about the different things that everyone is doing. Our friends from Japan are submitting some stuff as well. But it's just going to be an amazing collection of wonderful playing, all the way from solo pieces to multi-track pieces to jazz pieces. The other thing is, at least on jazz night, participants, if you like to improvise and stuff, tonight there'll be a folder for jazz night submissions, and participants are invited to submit a video of themselves playing the tune and doing a 16 or 32 bar improvisation, and the ones that we think are where we want them to be are going to get video edited and mixed in, and they'll be on the jazz night. So it's really cool. One thing the artists don't know about, but we're going to send out the tune, and if you guys want to join and just record the head of the tune or anything like that, you guys can absolutely do that, and we'll have like a mass version of I think we're doing Sweet Georgia Brown and How High the Moon. So that's cool. Wednesday, again, another set of warm-up classes, master classes, our focus class with Don Green, our legends discussion that is featuring an incredible lineup of female artists, and then another set of master classes, an evening recital. Thursday morning, more warm-up classes, an insight into the Japanese music education scene for euphonium and tuba. Chris Olka, Jason Casanova, jazz style with David Bandman, Wagner with Chris Olka, legends discussion with Paul Drossi, Stephen Mead, Dave Worden, Winston Morris, Dan Parentoni, and Jim Self. They're called the Three Amigos. I've been talking with them, and they're trying to make sure that the other ones don't throw out top secret information or sort of embarrass the other guys with funny stories. Just so you know, I don't think any of the three of them monitor social media so much. I'm actually secretly instigating each of them to bring up embarrassing stories for the other ones, just so you know. I'm bad like that. Friday, again, orchestral style with Pete Link, 4 warm-up classes, Dave Porter's from Voice to Brass, focus class on college admission, applying for a job in higher education, career panel discussion, high B flat after 55. This final masterclass on Friday, Conductor's Perspective, we've invited 3 conductors, Robert Ambrose from Georgia State University, Larry Isaacson from Boston Conservatory, and Yutaka Kono, who's actually, I don't know if we should call him a reformed tuba player, because he was a tuba performance major, and then he started conducting orchestras, and he's had quite a successful career, so we invited him to do that. And then Saturday, our final day, 4 warm-up classes, orchestral style with Aaron Tyndall, master class with me, Expressive Toolbox with Dave Thornton, instrument doubling class, developing your extreme ranges with Mike Waddell. Mike Waddell is the technical director this year, former student of mine, teaches at Hiram College, low brass and band, and he's a amazing part of what you guys are seeing us produce, and so we wanted him to be involved as well. Composing and arranging class with Matt Hightower, Gail Robertson. Participant recitals. This is another thing that we're trying to involve our students and participants in, that we've got 2 75-minute recitals, and the participants can submit a 4 to 6 minute video. We'll mix them. We'll put on a recital that are featured by them, and that's a great opportunity. And then we've got the gala concert that's going to have the festival artist and the participant ensembles that'll have all the mashed up virtual ensemble of hopefully about 150 tubas and euphoniums in it. And yeah, that's the schedule. Is that enough tuba and euphonium for everybody?
More.
Could be more than what we can think about. So that's sort of a lot of what this week is going to be, and it's going to be awesome. For those of you that are interested, we are doing a social media promotion where if you tag your friends, we're going to give away a free registration on June 9th, and we'll post that in the IET Festival page here in just a second. But the biggest thing that I would say is that if you're thinking about being a participant for IET, please go and get registered today or first thing tomorrow. It really makes our life organizationally dramatically easier. You can get started on that virtual ensemble music and the jazz tunes. And then you can also get signed up for lessons. We still have a couple masterclass slots that are available. And so we hope that you guys will take part in that. Any of the teachers and artists, would you guys have anything final to say before I'm gonna look at the questions in the chat real quick, but go ahead.
All right, Adam, I have something to add here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so I was listening to all of the artists presenting today what they were going to do, and I thought it was super interesting. And I actually turned off the camera and I had my phone in the back pocket while listening to all of this, and I walked around picking weed in my garden while listening. So for a lot of these events that are more audio based, I think that could be a really cool way for the participants to actually consume the program. I mean, a concert could easily be enjoyed by headphones and the phone in your pocket, for example. You get to do other things. You don't have to be stuck to the computer the whole day just because you're participating in the conference. That's kind of my brilliant idea I came up with half an hour ago.
No, I think that's great, and I generally don't. One thing that's important for you to understand is we call it weeds, plural.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just had one of them like.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something very different, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Well.
Anyone else have any? Oh, no problem. No problem. Anyone else? Tyndall, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just liking Oystein's comment and weeds, plural. But yes.
Excellent.
Hope that many people join us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great thing, and I certainly hope that you will join me and these amazing artists at the IET Festival. If you have other questions, you can send us some different information, and yeah, join me at the IET Festival.